Thanks for joining us. I'm Tamika Alexander.
And I'm Daniel Sparkman. We begin tonight with storms causing damage all across the southeast, including a tornado killing one in East Mississippi.
But first, we begin with storm damage in West Alabama as some are still picking up the pieces after this afternoon's severe weather. WVUA's Travis Leader is live in Tuscaloosa tonight with the very latest. Travis, what kind of damage did you find today?
Well, the worst of the damage in West Alabama is likely in Macedonia in Pickens County. Now, here's a look at that video from earlier today. Local residents are cleaning up after an early afternoon storm caused minor structure damage off of County Road 75 in the western part of the county. Now, dozens of trees and power lines were toppled as a result of these storms. Workers were clearing trees off the road to allow traffic to go through again, and Alabama power crews were continuing to restore electricity back in the area. Now, I spoke with one local firefighter in the area, and he had some good news, and that was that there was no injuries reported in that community because of these storms. Now, that storm system eventually headed further northwest and caused more damage in Fayette County. This video is coming from the city of Fayette, which also received heavy storms that caused trees and power lines to be knocked down. Now, Alabama Power was seen throughout that area as well, assessing the damages. But the storm packed an even stronger punch across the state line in eastern Mississippi. Here you see a large tornado touching down in Noxubee County. The violent twister tracked all the way through Kemper County as well and left behind plenty of damage. At least one fatality has been reported in eastern Mississippi because of the severe weather. Now, the good news is here in West Alabama, there are no more severe storms to talk about as those storms have pushed off to the east. Reporting live in Tuscaloosa, Travis Leader, WVUA News. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Travis. So needless to say, it was a busy day over in the Weather Center.
Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott joins us now. Richard, how are things looking out there right now?
Yeah, really good news to talk about Tamika and Daniel. By the way, good Thursday evening to you. No more severe weather issues at this hour. We had a tornado warning in Tallapoosa County down in southeast Alabama about an hour ago. That storm since moved into the state of Georgia. But notice still a little band of showers along Interstate 65, really just east of Birmingham, down towards Chilton County, around Clanton. Still getting some rain out of this, but that's it with our rain. No more severe weather to deal with. Notice it's dry back over West Alabama. No additional rain expected for the next couple of days, so that's good. We'll kind of dry some of that ground out after a few flash flooding issues today. Had one cell really get out of hand over West Alabama, moved in Pickens County. Travis was talking about the tornado that moved in through East Mississippi and into Pickens County in West Alabama. That was the only storm where we had major damage with. Other storms, the damage was pretty scattered. All right, temperature-wise, we're getting cooler, though. We're talking 59 to Tuscaloosa, but how cool does it get tonight? What about that weekend forecast? Weather is coming up.
Thanks, Richard. The storm system moved through other parts of the southeast last night.
Yeah, and in northern Arkansas, people are picking up the pieces after a tornado touched down there Wednesday. In Van Buren County, officials say it destroyed the Boetkenberg Foursquare Church and ripped through several homes. Drivers were also hit by the strong winds. Some cars and trucks ended up overturned. At least 3 injuries were reported in that county.
And in Missouri, Governor Mark Dayton has declared an emergency. The National Weather Service says St. Louis suburb was hit by an EF2 tornado Wednesday night. At least 24 homes were damaged. No one was seriously hurt. Thousands of people in the area are without power.
And after the storm system moved through Alabama, today it set its sights on Georgia. This video is from Rome, Georgia, just to the northwest of Atlanta. You can see roofs torn off of buildings, structural damage to several homes in the area. There were also a number of trees and power lines knocked down there as well. And back in Tuscaloosa, it was tense moments today as an apartment complex when police were called out to a shooting. According to Tuscaloosa Police Sergeant Brent Blankley, TPD received a call around 2:15 this afternoon saying 5 suspects were fighting and multiple shots were fired at Fountain Square Apartments in Tuscaloosa. Blankley says when officers arrived on the scene, they located and detained one suspect. All of the other suspects fled the scene. A resident of the apartment complex told WVUA when he heard the noise, he didn't realize what it was.
We heard what sounded like a limb breaking. Turned out we assume now it's 2 or 3 shots. We walked down to get our mail and grab a crimson white, and by the time we were down there and had gotten the mail and got the paper, we looked over there and there were 3 or 4 cops. There were more arriving every 10 to 15 seconds.
According to Blankley, no one was injured in the incident and it remains under investigation.
A pedestrian in a grocery store parking lot was struck by an SUV earlier today. It happened around 3:15 this afternoon at the Publix in Tuscaloosa. Witnesses say a man on a bike was hit and dragged underneath the vehicle for several feet. Rescue crews and Tuscaloosa police responded. Witnesses say the victim was alert after the accident and taken to the hospital by ambulance. On your education watch, the search continues for a new superintendent of the Tuscaloosa County Schools. A total of 5 candidates are in the running for the position.
Today, the final 2 candidates were interviewed by the board. Dr. Wayne Vickers was first. He served as the superintendent for the Saraland City Schools since 2009. He's also worked in Tuscaloosa County Schools in the past. Dr. Vickers told us one of the issues he thinks is important for the system to go forward.
They've done a great job, I think, of maintaining a 1 month's operating balance. They have improved student achievement. They've worked closely, and I see now that they're moving forward on a strategic plan, which I think is very important to the school system.
And the final candidate to be interviewed was Dr. Valia Lee. Dr. Lee is a consultant for EduTrax and the former superintendent for Twiggs County, Georgia schools. She says if selected for the job, it's important to work together to advance the schools.
The main thing is involving all of the stakeholders, letting everyone embrace a vision of excellence, and then working collaboratively to identify a strategic plan and avenues for meeting the needs of our students, but not only meeting those needs, taking them beyond that.
School officials say they hope to announce the new superintendent by Thursday, April 25th.
Some good news for educators, as those in Alabama may soon get a boost in their paycheck. The Alabama House of Representatives has adopted a $5.7 million budget, giving teachers and other education employees a 2% pay raise, their first since 2008. Democratic lawmakers wanted a 5% raise, but Republicans said the state just couldn't afford it because of the need to pay back a rainy day saving account. The budget now heads to the Senate. Now to international news. Concern is mounting for U.S. intelligence officials. They say North Korea may be one step closer to launching nuclear missiles.
Meanwhile, in South Korea, things were calm today as workers returned to factories. CNN's Chris Lawrence has more.
Kim Jong-un has threatened a nuclear strike, and revelations from a new intelligence report show he may be capable of following through.
The North currently has nuclear weapons capable of delivery by ballistic missiles.
Congressman Doug Lamborn quoted from a new military assessment, which suggests North Korea may be closer to marrying nuclear weapons with the missiles to deliver them.
Whatever it takes to miniaturize it to the point where it could be placed on top of a missile. There is some degree of confidence, moderate confidence by the Defense Intelligence Agency that that can be done by North Korea.
The revelation came as President Obama publicly appealed to North Korea to end its belligerent approach.
And to try to lower temperatures. Nobody wants to see a conflict on the Korean Peninsula.
If true, the revelations give new weight to North Korea's recent threats.
Our arms are ready to fire and the exact coordinates are input to the warheads. Once we push the button, it will be fired and the strongholds of our enemies will be turned into a sea of flames.
The U.S. believes North Korea has at least one Musadan missile on the launch pad. U.S. officials say after initially raising the launcher, they lowered it Thursday. But they're not sure if Kim Jong-un is backing off or testing that it works before firing.
I don't think really he has much of an end game.
The director of national intelligence says Kim is trying to get recognition from the United States.
North Korea's arrival on an international scene as a nuclear power, and that entitles him to negotiation and to accommodation, and presumably for aid.
The North Koreans have had a lot of problems with accuracy, getting a missile to fly where they aim it. And in fact, this defense report suggests that the reliability of any North Korean nuclear weapon would be low. And remember, this is a military assessment. It remains to be seen if U.S. intelligence agencies have come to the same conclusions. Chris Lawrence, CNN, The Pentagon.
The assessment is the clearest acknowledgement yet by the U.S. about potential advances in North Korea's nuclear program.
North Korea has unleashed a torrent of dramatic threats against the U.S. and South Korea in recent weeks, including that of that possible nuclear strike. Now, back here at home, college can be competitive, but there always seems to be a group of students who excel. And a group of Stillman students were honored today for their excellence. This morning, Stillman College held its awards convocation ceremony. 35 scholarships were presented to deserving students. Bruce Henderson is one of the recipients this year, and he says it feels good to be recognized for his hard work.
It's a great thing to be recognized in front of my peers, faculty, administration, especially my senior year. It feels like my hard work was paid off.
I just want to thank Stillman College for giving me the opportunity to kind of find my passion and also get recognized for it. So this is great, and I love my Stillman College. Go Tigers!
Scholarship donors were present at the ceremony as well. One says it feels great to be able to give back to such deserving students.
Firefighters rush to the front line of danger as part of their job, and that means they need to be in good shape. It requires a lot of hard work and dedication to be ready when the siren goes off, and now those skills are going to be put to the test. The city of Tuscaloosa is hosting the Scott Firefighter Combat Challenge. The competitive competition includes full gear and a breathing apparatus as they race head-to-head, doing things like climbing a 5-story tower, hoisting, chopping, dragging hoses, and rescuing a life-size 175-pound victim. All the action kicks off Friday, April 19th, and again on Saturday. Team Tuscaloosa will compete against various teams of firefighters throughout the country. Welcome back. For the first time, we're getting a look at the two young brothers who were at the center of an international search after their parents allegedly abducted them.
Emily Schmidt has more about the boys and what they know about this week-long drama.
There were strict warnings before 4-year-old Cole and 2-year-old Chase Haken appeared before the cameras. Reporters told not to ask about the boys' kidnapping because the boys have been told they were on vacation.
They have been told that everyone heard about their sailboat trip to Cuba, another country, as they called it, and their airplane ride back to America, and that everyone wants to take their picture.
But what everyone else knew, watching the brothers happily ham it up, is that it took a huge effort to get them here and to get their parents, who had lost custody of them, in a Florida jail. Josh and Sharon Haken appeared in court Thursday. They're held without bail on charges of kidnapping and child neglect. They took the boys by sailboat to Cuba, where CNN discovered them earlier this week. Their grandparents, who have custody, chose to talk about the boys rather than the criminal case.
They were evaluated yesterday and had been well cared for on their journey, only experiencing several bug bites.
The preschoolers don't know it took international cooperation with Cuba to get them home. Don't know that their parents could face life in prison if they're convicted. Their grandparents say they shouldn't.
Our focus has been on getting those boys. Now our focus is making sure that we go forward and they can lead a normal life.
Those next small steps are all the more important because of the long road these boys have traveled together. Emily Schmidt, WVUA News.
Scary moments unfolded on a Texas highway today as a bus overturned on the interstate.
At least 2 people were killed today when that bus flipped on George Bush Turnpike in Irving, Texas. Police on the scene say several others were injured and were transported to area hospitals. The bus, with more than 30 people on board, was headed to casinos in Oklahoma when the crash happened. Many were reportedly trapped in the wreckage. The toll road that it happened on had to be shut down for several hours while crews were on the scene. Irving Police Captain Darren Steele says not everyone was able to survive.
We have over 30 people that were passengers on the bus. We have 2 that are confirmed deceased right now. The passengers have been taken to various hospitals throughout the Metroplex.
Once again, the bus was on its way to Oklahoma when the incident happened. It ran off the road, struck a barrier, and overturned. No other vehicles were involved.
Well, tense moments for those people in Texas. Tense moments for people back here in West Alabama with the severe weather moving in our area.
Yes, some severe weather issues, mostly activity dodged West Alabama, but extreme West Alabama around Pickens County. We had some damage out of that, even in Fayette County, some damage. We'll talk more about that after the break. Let's check out today's weather almanac. Very mild today before the cold front arrives, 79. Cooler air is moving in now. We'll talk about that plus your forecast straight ahead, so stick around.